Good day, everyone. Good day, ma'am. I am Edward de la Cruz Sanipa, BEd 3, and today let me present to you my report about developing study skills. Are you ready? I am ready. So, without further ado, let us start. Learn with me. Before we go deeper to the tips and ways on how to develop study skills, let us first define what is study skills. Now, study skills are often referred to as study strategies and academic skills and are considered as an effective approach to learning. These include an array of transferable life skills that help students to acquire good grades in school. And now let me present to you a method or a tips that would able for a student or a single person to actually use in order to develop a study skills. And this is called SQ3R method of reading. Now it is developed to help people read faster and study better. It is similar to the information you just read with some added details. SQ3R stands for Survey, Question, Read, Recite, and Review. For survey, this step takes only a few minutes. Go through the chapter quickly, glance at the chapter title, the introduction, heading, and summary paragraphs, if any. Notice any pictures, diagrams, graphs, table, and etc. Read any bold print. Now, in survey, previewing your text gives you some backgrounds about topics you may have never encountered before. You pick up general information. You know where to find information. You gain a better idea of how the information is organized and presented. It opens up a place in your brain where the new information will be stored. It saves time by reducing the amount of time it takes to read the chapter. Another advantage is that it creates an interest in what is coming up. It motivates you to read less interesting material to get to the good stuff. Next will be question. Before you begin reading a section, turn the heading into question. Alright, so for example, if the heading is basic causes of stress, now your question would be what are the basic causes of stress? This arouses your curiosity and increases your comprehension. It also brings to mind information you already know. The questions you ask help make important points stand out as you read. This forces you to think about what you are reading. Next will be read. Read the material under the heading with the purpose of getting the answer to your question. Read with concentration, identify the main ideas and highlights or underline them. Read sections at a time and stop to ask question. Jot down notes and ask yourself what you read. If you can answer your question, read on. If not, look it over again. Because a good practice for more difficult reading is to do an outline of chapter in your notes. By leaving extra space, you can fill in details during the class lecture. Make note of a new vocabulary and write definitions in your notes. Next will be recite. This step requires that you recite out loud the answer to the question you ask prior to reading a section of the text. Say it in your own words. If you find you cannot answer your question, go back and look for the answer. Then try again. This way, you will know if you have understood the material. Besides answering your questions, look away from the book and try to state in your own words what the reading is about. You may jot down brief notes about what you read. When you are done, go back and make an outline of the chapter. And the last step in the SQ3R method is review. After you have read the entire chapter, look over the notes you made to familiarize yourself with the important information. Check your memory by reciting the main points out loud. Then, review the main points in your notes, making sure you understand them. Add to your notes from the text if necessary. Always do a review of the chapter after completing your reading. Then do quick reviews before and after each class. Do longer, more in depth reviews before exam. Don't wait until exam time to review your textbook. Review once a week all the readings from that week. Be sure you can summarize the key points. Write them down to further reinforce learning. And that's all about the SQ3R method. Now, what are the advantages of the SQ3R method? Now, the SQ3R method of reading sets the stage for interacting with your text material. As you go through the 5 steps, you are gaining information, formulating questions, thinking about what you are reading, and trying to find answer to your questions. You are also reciting information out loud. All of these steps required the use of your auditory, visual, and kinesthetic senses. When more senses are involved, more effective learning take place. And at this juncture, let me present to you the other ways or the other tips in order to develop a study skills. The key to remember what you study is to move information from the temporary short term memory to the long term memory, meaning to say that these next tips will help you to do this. They are simple and fun to use, and the results you will get will be amazing. First on the list is visualize. Try to see what you are reading, get a feel for the subject, make it come alive for you. If you read about insects, try to feel them wiggle in your hand and imagine sounds they might make. The more senses you use, the stronger you make the neutral pathways in your brain, and you better and the better, all right? And the better you remember the information. Next will be highlight. Now, this is very common and familiar to all. Highlight, mark, underline, and deface your text. Make it a tool to work with. Write questions and comments in the margins. Even though you may not be able to resell it if it is a book, all right, consider the benefit you will get using your text as a study tool. Now, this is very common to us, no? Kanang mag-highlight sa mga materials, no? Especially sa kanang mo itong mga important matters. Ang usahay lang nga ay mga tendency nga tungod kay importante tanan mo, highlightan po noon tanan, no? So, the very idea here is to really highlight the most important, most timely, and important information that you read in the material. Next will be talk about it. Talk about what you're reading. Share the information with others. These help to reinforce learning and proves whether or not you understand the information. Talk about what you are studying. The best place to do this is in a study group where you can discuss the material, quiz each other, and share information. Now, me personally, I usually use this kind of technique. Talk about it. Sometimes when before quizzes or exam, no magkuan gid mi sa ko ang classmate or sa ko ang amiga mag Q&A about the material that we study. Mag-question, mag-try me og answer, ana kay murag ma-recall, no? Maka-recall ka sa imuhang gipang study. And next will be review. Review, and review again. Go over notes, outlines, and the text. Read the highlighted part out loud. Develop a habit of regular review to move information from short term to your long term memory. Next is creating a review tools. Review tools will help make students more interesting and effective. Design your own tools or work with a group or study partner to help develop them. So, following are some suggestions for study tools. So, first is a concept maps. No, so you are going to create a visual diagram of your notes with a central topic at the top, middle of the paper, and the remaining concept branching off from the central point. The other way is study checklist. So you are going to make a list of all the topics you are going to study and check off as you go along. And finally, join a study group. A good study group can be one of the most effective means of studying. It helps to combine the efforts of different minds, increase your storehouse of information, learn new study techniques, and allow you to share notes and information. It reinforces learning through discussion, questioning, repetition, and reinforcement. If you can find a study group, organize one. Set rules, limit the size of the group, and make it an effective study session, not a social gathering. Study group requires the same organization and time management as private study session. So that's it. All of those things I've talked about lately was actually the ways or tips on how to develop a study skills. Now, but it's up to us. It's up to a person, or it depends on the learning style of a single person. 'Di ba? So, kung asa siya mas preferable nga maka-develop og study skill, kung aha siya mas comfortable nga maka-learn og iyaha, dali maka-memorize, dali maka-familiarize og mga information, then let it be. All right? So, I'm just really discussing about some ways and techniques on how to develop a study skills. But then again, as what I am telling you, it depends on a single person. It depends on his or her learning style. So I guess that's it for today. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you learned something from me. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Happy New Year.